If I ever hear anybody talking trash, I get instantly mad and I instantly know what kind of a person you are. These will get mixed opinions from people in the comments. I will ride or die for these songs. There are some songs that I do really love on here. Just so good. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, probably one of my favorite forms of content to make, we are doing another Taylor Swift video, but not just any Taylor Swift video. I wanted to come on here and basically just spew my opinion. Today we're going to be talking about my most top underrated Taylor Swift songs. I chose at least one song from each album, starting from debut and ending with The Life of a Showgirl, and then I also wanted to add some extra ones in there just as like honorable mentions, but I did want to at least have one from each album because I truly do think that there is at least one underrated song per album. And of course, as always, this is my opinion and I am entitled to having my own opinion about music because I feel like some people could be super critical about it. But I'm also very interested in knowing what your guys' top 10 most underrated Taylor Swift songs are. Now, some of these songs might be popular from the fan base, but I'm meaning more like underrated in the sense of like, if I met somebody who did not listen to Taylor, I would tell them, listen to this song because I want you to understand, like, you need to listen because I need you to understand where I'm coming from. Starting off number one with Miss Debut. My number one most underrated song on this album is A Place in This World. I know it is a very popular one off of Debut, but this song for me has a lot of sentimental value. That was the very first Taylor song I had ever listened to, ever. And when I heard it, I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with that movie. And then I just kind of, my Swiftie obsession started from there. I feel like A Place in This World truly encapsulates what it means to be like a teenager and you're trying to figure out who you are. Even like a young adult, like feeling like you don't really belong anywhere, but you kind of have to figure it out and you feel like you're alone, but you're really not. Now moving on to Fearless. I actually have two off of this album, so let me do my number one. Of course, number one is going to my girl, That's the Way I Loved You. This song is for the girls who have been with a toxic man and it's literally like so infatuating and it's so addicting and like the rush of being with somebody who like you're really not supposed to be with, and then when you meet somebody who is like absolutely amazing and for you, you just can't help but think about like that really immature, toxic, crazy relationship that like you used to have. I think that this song is one, not only very relatable, but also two, so fun to scream and sing in the car. I think this is probably one of my favorite songs to like just scream sing. My second most underrated on this album is actually gonna be Tell Me Why. I think Tell Me Why is also very relatable in the sense of like, if you feel like you're down or getting treated wrong or being bullied or not being treated correctly in a relationship, like this song is very much like, tell me why. Like, tell me why you're doing this. Why do you think it's okay to hurt me? Why do you think it's okay to treat me that way or talk to me? It's also just fun and very upbeat, but also the lyrics are very much like, they hit. Now moving on to Speak Now. My most underrated song on this album that I truly believe is not talked enough about is Haunted. Just so good. And if anybody remembers the Speak Now era when she performed this on tour with like the dancers jumping out of like the bells, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but pause this video and go look it up on YouTube because it was an absolutely iconic tour performance. So good. And also the song is just fun to scream and sing. The way that the chorus is written and the way that she sings it, so much fun. Now moving on to her album Red. I like I love this album so much. I cannot tell you that the next two songs from this album that I'm going to say, also pause this video and go listen to them right now. I will ride or die for these songs. If I ever hear anybody talking trash about these two songs of hers, I get instantly mad and I instantly know what kind of a person you are. That sounds so crazy to say, but it's true because I think that these songs are so beautiful. I think both of these songs are lyrically written in a sense that you just need to get it in order to understand the song. The first song being track 3 on this album, and it's going to be Treacherous. I want to read a couple of lines of some of my favorite lyrics, and these are probably some of my favorite lyrics on the album, and I hope that this convinces you to go listen to it. I can't decide if it's a choice getting swept away. I hear the sound of my own voice asking you to stay. All we are skin and bone, trained to get along, forever going with the flow, but your friction. Like, the second most underrated that I think on this album is Begin Again. I love this song. I think her having this be the last track on the album is also so strategic and so beautiful and absolutely like Oh, it's just so healing. For this album mostly being a breakup album, I think ending with Begin Again, which is like a song and a story about feeling like you can never be loved and feeling like you are totally misunderstood, but then having somebody come back into your life who treats you so well and you feel complete and happy and you feel like, you know what, maybe I'm not stuck. Ending the album with Begin Again is just like so sweet, especially after songs like All Too Well. This song is just so uplifting and I love it and it's beautiful and I could not stop talking about it. Moving on to Miss 1989. This is definitely one of her most popular albums of all time, so it is really hard to have like an underrated one. One that I feel like definitely gets skipped and it isn't talked about the most is All You Had to Do Was Stay. The whole meaning behind the song is like, all you had to do was stay. You had me in the palm of your hand and like you ruined it. Like you lost your chances. Like there's no going back from this. Like you are the one that broke this off. My mom loves this song specifically, and again, there's a lot of emotional tie to this, but I sing this in the car with my mom and she says stay. Like when she says it in the song, like my mom screams it in the car and it's so fun. Now, moving on to Reputation. I don't think that there's any underrated songs. This is my #1 favorite Taylor album. Reputation has a very special place in my heart because I feel like that was the album that one, every song is a bop. Every single one. You can't not convince me that everyone isn't a bop. But also, it is the album that really made me feel like I didn't have to kind of be embarrassed about being a Swiftie. One of the songs that I think is definitely underrated on this album is Dancing with Our Hands Tied. In my personal opinion, I love the sound on this song. I also think that the lyrics are so fun and it is so upbeat. I also think that So It Goes is very underrated on this album. It's another upbeat, very like catchy pop boppy song, and I feel like a lot of people love like I Did Something Bad and they love Look What You Made Me Do and they love Don't Blame Me, but So It Goes and Dancing with Our Hands Tied, they're like up there. Like they're super catchy and you could dance to them too, which is also very fun. Now moving on to Lover. I will say there are some songs that I do really love on here, and then there's some songs that I just like, how did we go from Reputation? That's just my own opinion. Not to say that there aren't amazing songs. One of the ones that I think is severely underrated on this album is Soon You'll Get Better. I know this song doesn't get talked about the most, but holy crap, it is a song that I refuse to listen to because it will bring me to tears. My favorite lyric from that song is, who am I supposed to talk to? What am I supposed to do if there's no you? Absolutely heartbreaking, because it's so hard to describe that feeling to people, but when she writes songs, I feel like she perfectly can say something that might not make sense in your head, but makes sense to other people, like when she writes it. Another one that I think is very much underrated is Paper Rings. I am obsessed with this song, and at first I used to not like it, but I think it is just such a beautiful metaphor for I don't care, we're madly in love, I would marry you with a paper ring, I would marry you with absolutely nothing. Like, you are the love of my life. Gives very much like early 2000s like pop rock kind of with The Counting. It's very cheesy, and I think that that was the point, is that like I feel like Taylor doesn't make music without there being a motive behind it. I feel like her making this song very cheesy, very upbeat, very much like on beat and poppy. It's like her way of saying like, I'm not embarrassed to love you, I don't care what you have, like we're locked in, like this is what's meant to be. Now moving on to Folklore. This is another one of my favorite albums, and this is a huge fandom favorite album. One of the songs that I definitely think is most underrated on this is Illicit Affairs. It's so good. In my opinion, I could 1000% be wrong, so the Swiftie police don't come for me, but in my opinion, there can be a lot of opinions surrounding relationships, and then sometimes it makes you feel like you have to kind of hide things from other people. Like you don't want to talk about it that much because you are embarrassed of like how the relationship is or how things are going. That's the way that I take Illicit Affairs. Like, you have to be quiet, you have to be on the hush, you have to be on the down low, and you know it's not the best, but like the relationship just keeps pulling you back in. It's so infatuating, it's so addicting. Again, beautifully written. What I also love is that it shows this like constant cycle of like somebody being in a relationship and willing to rip themselves apart, ruin themselves a million times. Another song on this album that I think is so underrated is Mad Woman. To me, I think that if you're a woman, this perfectly encapsulates what it means to be called crazy. I think that Mad Woman is just that angry snip in the butt, like, yeah, you want to call me crazy? Well, you made me crazy if it wasn't for the crap that you had to do. So if you're going through a breakup and you need a really, really good petty breakup song, I think Mad Woman is absolutely amazing. The next album we're going to be moving on to is the sister album, Evermore. One underrated song that I definitely think should be talked about more on this album is Closure. Again, a really awesome song, and I actually perceive this from like a friendship point of view. I love this song, and I think that it is a perfect song for kind of getting over something and just kind of stepping away and backing away from something that really might have not been the best. And in this song, Taylor is just saying like, I don't need your closure. I don't need to hear what you have to say. Like, I got your letter. I'm doing fine. Like, I'm glad to see that you're doing fine, but like, I don't want to kind of re-scratch and reopen this wound. I think it's a song about growth and kind of moving on through things and kind of like going over really tough situations. Just another really great underrated song in my opinion. Next, moving on to Midnights. This is another album that I absolutely love, and I think that there's actually a lot of very underrated songs on this album. One of them being Labyrinth. I hated this song originally when it first came out, but it's definitely a grower, and I say that because of the sound of the song. I feel like it's not something you could like blast on the radio and like dance to. It's not very like super catchy and poppy. Another song that I think is super underrated on this album is Question. I think that the exchange between like the narrator in this song, almost questioning cheating, or like almost questioning like, do you regret? Do you like being talked about in a crowded room now? Like, are you embarrassed by it? Like, how do you feel? I also think that the song is just very catchy in general, so definitely underrated in my opinion. Now moving on to Miss Tortured Poets. Now this is gonna be hard because there's 31 songs I believe on the album. I do have some ones, and I feel like these will get mixed opinions from people in the comments. My number one most underrated on the Tortured Poets department is I Look in People's Windows. I have not met anybody yet who likes this song. I love this song, and I'm gonna tell you why, but if you also like this song, please let me know in the comments because I'll feel less lonely. Now I'm gonna paint a scene for you, and this is how I think the song is. Like, this is how I think it is, and maybe it's only crazy people like me. If you were going through a breakup, and say that you were walking down the street and you saw the same exact car that your ex had, and then you almost like freak out in a way and you're like, oh my gosh, is that them? Like, are they thinking about me? Like, oh my gosh. And then you get all those memories back, but it's actually not them and it's just the same car. Like, that is what I feel like this song encapsulates. And that is such a hard thing for me to describe, but that is exactly what I think that this song is trying to portray, is that feeling of like familiarity, of seeing things and curiosity and wondering something. And I think it's perfectly described in the very last lyric of the song that says, what if your eyes looked up and met mine one more time? Like, what would happen? Now that I got that out of the way, I feel like I can't stop word vomiting about all of these songs. I also think that the song Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus is so underrated on this album, and I will tell you why. I think that the lyrics, if you want to break my cold, cold heart, just say I loved you the way that you were. If you want to tear my world apart, just say that you've always wondered. To me, that is probably one of my most favorite lyrics that she's ever written, because I think that in this song, she's talking about changing yourself completely for a relationship and completely for a person. But once you do that, you kind of lose who you are. The narrator's saying to like her ex-lover, like, if you just loved me for the way that I am, why couldn't you just tell me that? Like, I didn't have to change who I was. I didn't have to lose myself. But, I could talk about this song for hours. Last but not least, I'm gonna talk about The Life of a Showgirl. One underrated song that I believe is on this album is the song Honey. What I love about this song is that it's kind of talking about how people in relationships can really weaponize certain words. I think why she's such a big artist is because she does write songs about things that people really don't know how to put into words, but she just has a really impeccable talent of writing things and saying things and making it make sense. Anyway, that is it for all of my top favorite underrated songs on all of her albums. Again, I do want to preface that this video is all about my own personal opinion, and I am extremely curious to know what your guys' top favorite underrated songs for Taylor are. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye!